Thank you, Mr. Ramesh and Aushala. Today we are going to. This is a small presentation about the introduction to astrophotography. So this is a very deep subject. In order to study it, we have to learn some basic astronomy as well as the equipment. So uh, I'll start the presentation. So First, what's astrophotography? So astrophotography is also known as astronomical imaging, which is anything you can see in the sky. If you take a photograph, it's astrophotography. Not anything like celestial objects. Even if you take a photograph of the sun, which is not in the night, but it's also considered as a astrophotography. And this can be in many ways. So if you don't have a telescope, if you only have a camera, so you can use a camera to take uh, very detailed images of certain objects in the sky, like moon, the Milky Way, and some other constellation, which I will discuss in the future slides. And also, when digging deep into the astrophotography field, then yeah, of course, need a good telescope to get the photographs you need. So by using a telescope, you can photograph very deep sky images, objects which are not visible to the naked eye. So when you are using only a camera, it's also called freehand photography or wide field photography. So let's talk about basic. In order to take astronomical objects, first you need to understand some basic uh, astronomy instructions. So we all know every 24 hours Earth rotates one revolution around its axis. So this means every hour the Earth rotates 15 degrees along its axis. So if you take a photograph of this, if you take maybe like 1 hour exposure. So if you take 1 hour exposure, the stars are going to appear with a trail, like you can see in the first image in the above. In the top of the slide, you can see a photograph taken with a large exposure time. So this happens when you are using a large time duration during the astrophotography. So then also you need to know the Polaris, which is the northern star. So it's directly above the northern axis. So if you take a photograph, maybe like 1 hour exposure photograph, this also this is the north star still the same, but the other stars revolve around it. So this is it for basic astronomy. And moving on, you need to have some astronomical software. So it's useless to study the whole astronomical star maps and all just to get the astrophotography, just to get some objects to astrophotography. So you need some astronomical software. We recommend this Stellarium, which is very free for desktop PCs. So this can be used to find the objects that you need to photograph. So then there are so many mobile applications in iOS app stores or Android app stores. Any mobile star app, then you can in the field you can use this app to locate the object, so that you can see where you should photograph. So then also in the end, yeah, some astrophotography is basically you have to take maybe like several hundred photographs just to get one good quality image. So in order to stack the several hundred photographs, you need a stacking software like Sequator or Registax. So and also you need to be patient, and also wait at least 30 minutes after dark just to get your eyes adjust to the darkness. And don't ever use the flashlight in astrophotography, and use a red light, because red light is the minimum how red light is has very low effect on the eye when compared to a flashlight. So so when taking photography only with a camera, you just need a good digital camera, preferably which has a long exposure setting, and a tripod or a tracking mount, and a self timer or a cable release for your shutter. And with this method you can get several photographs which are very beautiful, the Milky Way galaxy, constellation, meteor showers, and comet. So for this type of objects, it's very useful if you have a 1.8 is better than the f8, because then you can reduce the exposure time to dispose the noise in the photograph. And also, if you are taking the Milky Way galaxy, it's gradually try using exposure times between 10 to 30 seconds. Depending on the image, this is also a trial and error situation. Depending on the light pollution and all, you need to adjust the exposure time according to the background. Uh, this in the right hand side, there's a picture of the Milky Way galaxy, which was taken by our teammate Mr. Damsi. So he took this image just using the camera itself, camera and a tripod. So just using a camera, you can get these types of very clear images of Milky Way galaxy. But we have to go for a darker location, because if you have so much light in the background, even in this picture, there's somewhat light near the horizon. So if you go beyond, go to a very dark side, then you can take a much clearer picture as well. So then there's another type of images you can take with just the camera is star trails, as we discussed. If you open the shutter long enough, you can take the star path with which the star travels along the night sky. So maybe like maybe like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, if you have a longer exposure, then you can take a good star trail. Longer the exposure, longer the star trail gonna be, and you have to use the minimum ISO settings, and depending on the situation, so depending on the light pollution in the area, you have to adjust according to the situation. So and also using a small aperture lens is very useful. Then you can reduce the sky glow as well. And always we have to at least try to go to a dark location to take these types of images. And the best thing that we could start for the astrophotography is the sun. So sorry, the moon. uh, the moon is very easy to find in the night sky, and it's the brightest of the night sky. So you can take uh, the moon just by using a uh, camera with a longer focal lens, like maybe like 400 millimeters or a 400 millimeters like lens. You can take a good image of the moon. Thinner crescent moon, maybe maybe 7 to 8 days after the full moon, then you can take a good image of the moon, because thinner the crescent, the more detailed you could get from the image. And then the main thing when you are using a telescope, so this is for much somewhat advanced astrophotography. So by using a telescope. Telescope is another big lens. So when you are using a telescope, choosing a right telescope is key for astrophotography. So this means if you want to find and photograph the planets, you need to get a different telescope which has a longer focal length. If you want to get images of the deep space, we need to get a shorter focal length which has a wider aperture telescope. So depending on the situation, depending on your interest, you need to see what kind of a telescope you need to get the photograph. And for deep space and planetary astrophotograph, you need to have a tracking mount. So which means this tracking mount tracks the star along its path, so you can have a still image while having a longer exposure time. So mainly there are two types of telescope mounts. The top right hand side, we mentioned the equatorial mount, and the bottom left corner there's a anti-azimuth mount. These work in a similar way, but for astrophotography it's better to use an equatorial mount. But either way, if you are using either one of them, you should be able to get a good image uh, of any deep space or planetary image. So, so this is very important. So depending on the camera, you need to get a different type of T adapter, T mount adapter. There are several different types of T mount adapters according to the camera type. If you are having a Nikon lens, you should get a Nikon T adapter. Same as for Canon, Sony and all. So depending on your camera, you need to get the T mount adapter, uh, which enables you to attach your camera to your telescope. So this is one of our setups. So we are using the T adapter to mount the cameras to our telescope, so we could take the images. So with a telescope, the best thing, you can take photographs of Jupiter, Saturn, and most of the inner planets like Mars, uh, Venus. Then also you can use the telescope to take pictures of moon. So this requires a telescope with a tracking mount, so that the telescope aims to the exact same position in the sky even throughout the exposure period. So maybe like if you are observing the night sky about an hour or two, the telescope mount aims the telescope onto the same object as you start to the end. So generally these types of images are taken as a video image, video file, then convert it to some images, convert it to the images and stack them together. So mainly it's if you are interested in photographing the planets, dedicated CCD or IPS cameras are available to photograph the planets. And when then the most interesting thing is deep sky imaging. These are objects which cannot be seen by the naked eye, very faint. So we need a larger aperture, maybe like 4 to 8, 4 to 4 inches and upwards of diameter the lens, so the telescope, and generally requires the tracking mount to image these kinds of objects. So these are very faint. Even the smallest vibration could lead to a blurry image. With the deep sky imaging, you can photograph galaxies, star clusters, nebulae, and all sorts of, and also comets, all sorts of deep sky images. So this is also taken by our teammate Damsit Veerasinghe. This is Omega Nebula. So this is also stacked. We took around several hundred photos, then stacked them together and edited to get the final image. So as same as this is the Orion Nebulae, so which was also taken using to get the more detailed image. And this is also another deep sky object, uh, which is the Lagoon Nebulae. This is also taken with a few hundred images and stack them together. So you have to be patient when doing the astrophotography. The raw images that you take from the camera are not gonna look like this. So we have to be patient, take several hundred photos and stack them together to get these types of images. So you can use even you can use your mobile phone to astrophotography using a telescope. These types of mounts are available, and there are few longer exposure camera apps you can get from the app stores. Even
Yes, Sachit, you can continue.
Yeah, I have. This is what is the meaning of nebulae? So nebulae is a collection of dust and particles in the deep space. This is the birthplace of new star systems. So when yeah, when a star dies, it explodes. Even our star dies around 4.5 billion years from now, it's gonna explode. So the material which the star contains is gonna distribute around it. So it's gonna
Sachit, you have to, yeah, Sachit, you have to change the slide. We are still seeing the previous slide, the using mobile phone slide.
yeah.
Aushul, no, I think
No, I got a message
explaining,
from.
yeah, he got a question. Yes, he's answering the question.
Ah, okay. Sorry.
I got a question from what is the meaning of nebulae? So that's why I'm explaining. So when going back to the nebulae slides, so this is the Orion Nebula. So nebulae in the Orion constellation, which this is a very bright deep sky object. So this is the birthplace of new star systems. The nebulae occurs when the star explodes. Even our star, even our sun, after the star explodes, the material which it contains distribute around it. So it's gonna look like a cloud. Basically, it's a dust cloud in the sky. Hope it clarifies what the question.
Sachit, can I add something to what you said?
Yeah, sure.
Well, actually, there are 4 types of nebula. As Sachit said, there are 2 types of nebulas that form from exploding stars. The first type is called the planetary nebula, which you earlier saw, the Dumbbell Nebula that Sachit showed. It's a planetary nebula. And the second type of nebula that is formed by an exploding star is called a supernova remnant. A famous one example for supernova remnant is the Crab Nebula, which is situated in the constellation of Taurus, or the Bull. And these kinds of nebula are known as emission and reflection nebulas. The blue part is called an emission nebula, and the red part is called a reflection nebula. What happens is these dust clouds or gas clouds get illuminated by nearby stars, and then some parts starts to reflect the radiation from the stars, and other parts absorbs the energy and re-emits the energy as some other parts of radiation. So that's the different color, the color difference between the two types. So these are the main types of nebula that is we can find in the night sky. And basically, these are the birthplace of stars, as Sachit said. Actually, in Orion Nebula, you can actually see there are very small, tiny stars that are formed inside the nebula itself. The core of the Orion Nebula is very bright. This is because there are hundreds of thousands of newly forming stars, which illuminates the nebula itself. I think I was able to give a clear explanation for that. Sachit, you can continue.
Yeah, thank you, Damsit. So hope that answers the question. We are talking about using a mobile phone. You can use, even I use the mobile phone to take images of the sun. So it's very easy, it's very quick to set up. You can take great images, and in the bright objects, you can take great images using your mobile phone. This is the moon using a mobile phone. So it's a very bright object. You can get great details. This is during a lunar eclipse. So we are mainly focusing about the eclipse. So we use the mobile phone to get the images itself. Very fast and very easy to set up. So the challenges. When doing astrophotography, you have to be very patient. Even the weather changes the image quality. Even sometimes you can set up your whole system, but still the weather impacts on your photography sessions. So sometimes you won't be able to take any photograph because of the weather. And also the light pollution. The more air pollution you have, there's going to be more light pollution. So rural areas are the best place for astrophotography. So and also you have to be very patient. You have to wait maybe like 1 or 2 hours after sunset to for the sky to get very dark. And the camera sensor dead pixels can have a distortion in the image. And you have to set up your telescope accurately. So this is very practical thing. You have to practically get to know the telescope you are using to set up it. So that's why I'm not very much concerned. I'm not going to be very detailed about the telescope setup. If you are having a practical session, we can show you how we can set up the system, so you could take the photograph. It's very crucial to set up your telescope accurately, otherwise the tracking can be deviated from the star path. So during your exposure, long exposure times, like sometimes we are using 3 minutes, 5 minutes exposure time. So during that time, if the telescope mount is not accurately set up, you can have a slight trail of the images you take. So it's not gonna be a good image. Ultimately, it's gonna be a waste of the time if you don't set up your telescope accurately. And unlike lens, you have to manually focus the telescope to get the crisper image. Methods to focus the telescope. So first, this is very practical thing. You have to take some photographs, see whether the focus is correct or not. Either you can use different types of filters, so you can you can see whether the telescope is uh, focus or not. And also practice makes perfect. You have to, as much photographs you take, you're gonna improve your skill. So practicing the photography, astrophotography is very important when taking the images. And always we try to get raw images. As photographers, you all know, the raw images we can get more details. And we have to set the camera for long exposure noise reduction. Use mirror lookup or mirrorless camera to reduce the vibration. Even the tiniest vibration of the mirror flip can have an effect on the image. And always we have to use the remote shutter or timer, because when we are clicking the shutter button, even that tiny vibration can destroy the image. And you have to use the optimum ISO for maximum dynamic range for each camera. The camera manufacturer gives some sort of uh, chart, so you can find the optimum ISO for maximum dynamic range. And as we discussed earlier, we are taking several hundred photographs, then stacking the images together to get a more clearer image. So several hundred images you have to take, because even in the left hand side image, maybe around 400 pictures were taken to get that image. So in the right hand side image, maybe like 20,000 images were taken to get the stacking done correctly. These are not images, these are video clips, so we can stack them together. Sequator or Deep Sky Stacker can be used to stack the images, and stacking more images can lead to greater detail in the image, as well as reducing the noise as well. So this is the sample that this is what we are doing for astrophotography. Instead of the board, we are using deep space astronomical objects. Post processing. Always we have to use post processing. As any photograph, we have to use either Photoshop, Lightroom, or any other editing software to get the appeal of the photo itself. So thank you. If you have any questions, you can ask us. So we try to answer them as best as possible.